Well,
Hey,
hello.
Carla.
Long
Hello,
time
my
no
friend.
see.
Where the bloody hell have you been?
Where have you been? Where have we both been? What's the holidays,
Oh
life?
my God.
I don't know.
I
Anyway, we're
know.
back.
We're pondering all the complexities of the world's events right now. And there's
Yeah, it's
just
been
so much
spinning so
to
fast we
process.
couldn't keep up with everything. We had to sit back and digest it all, and yeah. So here we are. We're back. We're gonna try to be more
Oh,
consistent too, right, Carla? Like we're gonna do maybe once a week again. We'll see.
we're going to try and be better. We've been naughty. We've been so naughty. You know what it is? We've been up to mischief. We've had a bit too much dating fun, I think,
I
you and
think
I.
you've had a bit too much dating. Nothing happening
Oh,
here. I guess I just scare
yes.
everyone when I mention something. We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, let's go on. We've got some things to get through. This has already been such an eventful year. We've already started in February, and I feel like we've had a year's amount of news. So let's start with the first topic of the evening, and it is Balloonacy. Yes, Carla, what the bloody hell was that balloon, that white balloon that was in the air?
Well, apparently it was a Chinese spy balloon, weather balloon. It's a balloon that I think these things are pretty common and normal, and but apparently everyone went crazy about this little white, or I guess big white balloon that was floating across Montana. I guess it floated across the entire United States before it finally got shot down, and not by Marjorie Taylor Greene either, although she was trying to shoot it down. I mean, that should have been the picture. Her trying to shoot down the balloon.
Yes.
She wanted that thing, man.
Oh, yes.
It completely caused complete chaos over the weekend. I don't know. I don't know what is up with that, but I think that I think it's either a distraction from all the other crazy things in the world. We can just focus on this balloon, or just it's like show the Republicans here, like throw that at them, and they'll just look up and they'll get distracted from everything else, or I don't know, or Democrats too. Like they both seem like equally concerned about this balloon. But the other thing I think is that it also since it's a Chinese balloon and it was supposed to be spying on us, I kind of feel like they're trying to amp up everyone into thinking that China is an aggressor and we've got to go after China and we've got to start a war with China, because apparently that's on the horizon, is a war with China. After we're done with Ukraine, we're going over to China. What do you think, Carls?
I think they went all Team America, and they're like, oh my God, let's get our little toys and shoot that mother effer down. It was like the Americans were like, this is what we've been waiting for. This is it. A little white balloon.
Yeah,
China has a lot of money. Surely they could have invented something more sophisticated.
well, if I'm correct, I believe that they have things now called drones and satellites and all kinds of sonar equipment that's maybe a little bit more evolved than a balloon. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Maybe if they were really trying to spy on us, they'd think of a different way than just floating a balloon over the United States.
Yes.
And apparently, from what I understand, China had actually spoken with the United States to let them know this was happening, and they felt like they were kind of like, why did you shoot down our balloon? We told you this was happening.
They've got other things to worry about. I mean, yeah, I just, this shows how fraught things are at the moment in the United States. As they've got their toys, they so want to use them, and then I think we're so paranoid that the world wants to kill us and stop us from world domination, and everybody's out to get the United States, and it's preposterous. Absolutely.
Although it seems like the United States is out to get everyone else. That's how I see it.
I know. I
But
know.
yeah, it's complete balloonacy. I mean, honestly, that's just it's what is going on with this. And then
Yeah.
you have like Marjorie Taylor Greene, like trolling Biden with her white balloon, and like this, the State of the Union, like walking down the hallway with some gigantic balloon. It's just like what's really going on here?
It's insanity. It's complete insanity.
And Carla, I apologize because I know that I don't. I'm sure, like in UK things like this don't happen. I'm guessing you don't shoot at balloons and
Well,
carry
we had
balloons
our own
and
balloon. We had an amazing Trump balloon. If
oh,
you
I did, yeah. That
now
I remember the Trump balloon, yeah.
that's the kind of balloon we like to
Well,
use.
that's not a bad balloon.
With him in a nappy, or as you'd say, diaper. That's the kind that you gotta have some humour. I mean,
I
I
know. But yeah, just like the way everyone lost their mind over this balloon. I mean, I do think that the way it's playing out, I think that they are preparing us to be to think that China's our enemy.
yes,
And
yes.
I mean, definitely the Republicans see. So it's interesting that Republicans are definitely like seem to be more on the aggression towards China, and the Democrats are definitely more on the aggression towards Russia. And meanwhile, it looks like Russia and China are working together. They're best buds.
Yes.
Like they're gonna be fine. We can put all the sanctions we want on Ukraine, and then I mean, and China's got. I mean, they're fine. I mean, I think we should just keep our mouth shut and like
Carla,
stay out of everyone's business.
Carla, I can imagine it right now in years to come in the school history books when it all started with a white balloon. That's how it started.
Or that's how it ended, or the beginning of the end, right?
Yes,
The end
yes.
of, I mean, because we are the little clock is ticking, right? What do you call the clock again? End of the world clock.
Doomsday clock.
The doomsday clock. Yeah, we're like the closest we've ever been.
It's the balloon. It's a white,
That is the signal.
a dirty white balloon. It was dirty.
I know, and now it's in the ocean, right? I mean, like it's gonna hurt some turtles, some sea turtle, and some whales, and who knows, dolphins.
Yeah. So that's how we started. That's how we started the year. So on to the next subject.
Ooh, yeah. Now this is
To Russia with love. Carla,
well,
explain.
this just broke today by Pulitzer Prize award-winning journalist Seymour Hersh. He is a very great, one of the best investigative journalists of our time. I believe he reported on all the bad stuff in Vietnam and Watergate. I mean, he's very well respected, and he was able to look into how it was. So, Carla, first of all, I want to say that you and I were right.
Yes.
Russia did not blow up their own pipeline like everyone was saying, which just seemed ludicrous to us at the time. Like, why would they do that?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, this journalist went and did the work and did the research and the reporting and found out that it was indeed the United States that blew up the pipeline, along with not UK but Norway. And I know you were surprised, right? You thought it was UK.
It's like some bad whodunit, where who would lovely.
Well, the way this was done too, it's almost like it should be turned into a movie. What they had to go through, they train these these divers down in like Panama City, like these like dirty divers that they're not even allowed to go into like other kind of military affairs. They had to they worked with Norway to plant these bombs during some kind of like NATO thing that they do every year, and then months later they dropped these like sonar kind of things down into the ocean that ended up exploding like 3 months later. It was just this craziness.
No.
And the nutty thing about this is that they were planning this before Russia invaded Ukraine. They were planning this in 2021, and before September 2021. This was all going down.
America wants to provide all the gas. It wants to be in charge of the world's gas supplies.
Ding, ding, ding. Exactly. Because Germany was getting all that free gas from Russia, and United States did not like that. Even Trump didn't like it when he was president. He saw that there was, that there was money to be made, and apparently so did United States and Norway as well, because Norway apparently has some gas that they wanted to sell off to Europe as well. So it's it's a huge story.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's big. And the thing is the mainstream media is, I don't think, I mean, I think they're ignoring it, which is they're going to do. And the other thing they're doing is they're suddenly smearing this Pulitzer Prize winning journalist. And the Wikipedia today, at one point, they changed him to a conspiracy theorist.
Oh, no.
Yes. And then I think the New York Times, because he wrote this on Substack. And so the New York Times referred to him as a blogger. A blogger. Seymour Hersh, a blogger.
So what is happening to our the most respected and revered journalists are now going underground on Substack. Substack now is the place where our Pulitzer Prize journalists are going to report on news.
Yeah, Glenn Greenwald, Matt Taibbi. I mean, and they're all, and if they go there, they're smeared. I mean, first of all, because I mean, CNN, MSNBC, their ratings are so in the toilet. People don't trust them anymore. I mean, we just found out that Russiagate was a complete hoax, like I always thought.
Yes.
It was like they just came out with that, a complete and utter hoax.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've been lying to everyone, and I think everyone's just like, wait a minute, I'm done with this, and where can I get real information? And all the censorship too that went on, over the past, like, I don't know since 2016, it's just amped up to kind of, it's like the way that the media is aligned with a certain political party or whoever's in charge, or donor money, it all kind of gets mixed into the media and the politicians, and then we don't get real news.
Yes. Yeah. It's very, very frightening. And Julian Assange is still in jail. They're saying that he's going to be extradited to the US, aren't they, at some point? But it's so bleak for our journalism. And Carla, journalists were supposed to be intrepid reporters. Reporters were people that went and risked their lives to find the truth and went underground and cracked any kind of like nasty skullduggery going on, and
right.
Now,
and they weren't supposed to be biased towards a political party. Even if they were just supposed to report on the news and report on what was on the facts.
Yes.
And now if you report on the facts, you're called a Putin apologist, or you're called a Republican, as it is, like Matt Taibbi, Glenn Greenwald are called like right wingers, because they just kind of look at the facts and they report them, and it's completely ludicrous. Yes. I mean, I went to journalism school. Like I actually did not get it, but I was a journalist for a while, and I mean, I was always told, like, you do not get yourself involved. You look at the facts and you report on them, and somehow that whole thing has gone completely out of the window.
Yeah,
and it's really sad, and I think it's people are losing trust in the media, and then when the censors start censoring stuff online, it's like people don't know where to go or what to believe.
It's doing us a disservice. And this also starts the smear campaigns against other countries and being able to propagate our political agenda by just giving us the bare minimum, and no one is able now, as a reader or a listener of the news, we can't be discerning anymore. We're not allowed to. Before, you could read an article and you could discern from the facts what you took, okay, is this bad? But now we're being spoon-fed lies, and everything is completely fabricated to basically manipulate us. And we've talked about this on so many subjects. And where is it going to end? I don't know how our media can recover. I mean, the fact that everyone I know that is at all intellectually curious now has to go and underground to get their information. Like go to all these, like, delve into any kind of, the small news outlets that are still, still trying to be responsible and report
Yeah.
on the news responsibly. And it's not, I sometimes, I mean, I still respect the New York Times in some ways, that the quality of the news that comes out in the New York Times, but oh my goodness, they're so in bed with the establishment, the corporate
Yeah.
establishment, aren't
And Mother Jones, like Mother Jones would
they? Friends,
I don't know what like
I'm shocked.
yeah, be completely shocked. But
Yeah, because
yeah,
they are totally, they
gone the
totally
complete opposite direction.
believed all the lies about Russiagate, and now it's all, coming out because of
Believe them, but also they propped them up and wrote about them. I mean, they're
yeah,
responsible for propagating that.
yeah,
It's insanity. But also with this story too, so the White House did make a statement and they said it was completely untrue that they did this. And it's like, but if you look at what happened, I mean, you had before the war, before Russia invaded Ukraine, you had Joe Biden saying, if Russia invades Ukraine, the Nord Stream 2 is not going to be anything. It's going to not going to be alive. And then you had people like Victoria Nuland talking about it. You had all these people that were definitely saying that there was something that was going to happen to and when it did happen, I mean, then you had people like just recently Victoria Nuland said, like, told Ted Cruz, hey Ted, at least like now that pipeline's a hunk of metal on the bottom of the ocean. It's like, okay, so they obviously knew what was going on. And the insanity about this is they claim to be so worried about the environment, and to me this was a complete and utter act of eco-terrorism, not to mention international terrorism. And I mean,
yes,
like, the fact that that they did that, I mean, that's also an act of war. I mean,
hmm
they've been, kind of pussyfooting around, like, this with this whole war, like not trying to like be at war with Russia when it's a proxy war. And now this comes out, and like, I mean, what's Russia going to do? We hope that they don't do
it
something
is.
awful.
Yeah, and that's what's so frightening. Again, we have not heard any efforts for any peace talks with Putin. I mean, Biden should have been invited when Zelensky came and he did his Churchill speech, a month ago, and Biden should have been, look, let's get some peace talks with Putin. This is a costly war. It's going to escalate.
Is it
It's
113 billion dollars we've sent over there already? I think it's 113 billion dollars. That's an insane amount of money.
not to mention that we're not reporting on the exact death toll in the Ukraine. The more people have died in the Ukraine now than the Vietnam War.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, they like to, yeah, and now they're enlisting, they're enlisting 16-year-olds now in Ukraine because they're running out of people. I've seen these. I mean, again, who knows? This videos I'm seeing on Twitter, but I've been seeing Ukrainian forces going and taking these mothers, like 16-year-old sons, away, and they're upset and they're crying and say no. Apparently the lifespan of someone who's a non-trained military person to go up onto the front line in Bakhmut is 4 hours. A 4-hour lifespan is what I'm hearing. And that's insanity. I mean, this means that, like, I mean, if you really cared about Ukrainian lives, you would stop this right
yeah,
now and have some peace agreements. But if you try to say that, again, you become a Putin, a puppet apologist, whatever. But Carla, the other thing that I found out recently, or that I read about, is that the ex-Israeli prime minister had actually had they had a peace deal on the table. They were willing to work these things out. And then the West came in and was like, no. They wanted the West, United States, the NATO, it's somehow beneficial for them, for their bottom line, their pockets. And they don't give a hoot about about Ukrainian lives. And that's what makes me very upset.
And it's a war where America has no body bags coming back.
Exactly. I mean, that's like, because if there were, Carla,
Yeah.
I'm
You're
sorry.
to meddle with Russia, to fight with Russia, and you don't even use your own people. You're going to use the Ukrainian people as cannon fodder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if we were troops on the ground, if we were sending our own people over there, I mean, already right now, um, people are starting to think like maybe we shouldn't. At first, it was like, yeah, we have to help Ukraine, and now people are like, well, maybe we shouldn't. We should be backing off of this now. I think it's like 50-50%.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that's Democrats too. I think if you look at the whole entire thing, it's like, I can't remember the percentages, but the distaste for this war is growing in the United States, and I think it is growing as well in Europe, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe even more so over there because they're probably feeling the repercussions more, I'm guessing. But maybe you can speak to that. No?
So, so I was just going to text. Sorry, Chris. Oh, dear.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah. But anyway. Oh no, I just was wondering if, I mean, I just feel like is it the same in Europe? Are people there getting less enthusiastic about this, about the war?
In the UK?
Okay, yeah. UK, Europe. UK.
So sorry about that slip up. It was just because I had a text coming through. I don't know. I think England are just going to, Britain are just going to follow the Americans. Really, they're going to follow the lead. So I don't. But I think at some point Britain will kind of distance itself because Britain is in a complete economic downturn. So I don't. At some point, I think Britain isn't going to be able to support America because we have
Zelensky just went over to London today to meet with Rishi Sunak, and Rishi Sunak is basically like, who knows why he went over there. I mean, maybe to beg for more money, maybe to, I'm not sure, but Rishi Sunak assured him that they were going to send F-16s and more weapons as soon as possible, whatever they need, is I think what he said. I think he said whatever they need. And to me, this is going to escalate things and also put us closer to the brink of
Britain doesn't have the money. We are completely on our knees economically. We have, I think we were the slowest, we had the slowest rise in increase in economy than any of the developed countries in the world.
Well, that's interesting. Well, you got Rishi's, he's going to send everything, all that's left over there to Ukraine, to Zelensky. So anyway, we should probably move on to the next.
Okay. Police don't shoot me. So, yeah, this one's going to be hard for me to even be humorous about. I mean, we can't, but I wanted to talk about this because I don't, as a Brit that's moved to America, it's so alien to me to see such police brutality. It's alien to me when I speak to Black Americans, and Black Americans are saying, well, when you've got a son, you've got to have the talk. That one day the police are going to come, they're going to rough you up, and you have to be all polite and put your hands on the wheel, and there's a pep talk that goes on. And in this case, Tyre was killed by Black police officers, which in itself is some internal racism going on. because, you know, it's not just white police, it's the police in general that are perpetrators of violence against black men. And I just get to a point now where I look at this and I get almost immune to it now. And it is the way that the footage of his death was so disgusting. The fact that these police officers were almost they got joy out of this for like completely torturing this guy. He knew he was a dead man, didn't he? He knew it. When he was running to his house calling for his mum, he knew. And there was nothing wrong with him. He wasn't, you know, he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I think there has to be, wow, you think of all the problems in America, like all the social problems, and one of the big ones is the police. Like how we talk about defunding the police. That's not going to help. We need to redefine what the word police is. It should be protecting the public, keeping us safe, and not attacking people. And our police are militarized. It's almost the way that police in this country, their training is, it's only a matter of weeks, isn't it, that police are trained to go out on the streets and then protect and serve the public. And you would think that something so important as keeping us safe should be held in such high regard. And if you think of and sometimes I think of the police themselves, I think I feel bad for them. They're ill-equipped to deal with so many things, whether it's, you know, drug addicts or the mentally ill.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
In psychology or sociology to deal with this.
Yeah.
And then there is, for me, in this country, black men are dehumanized. They are, in our media, in our literature, are always seen as something to be feared of. And it's not just white people, even black women are also, we're made to feel scared by black men. Black men have been shown as, in every aspect of American culture, as something to be feared of. And I don't know if this comes from slavery and, you know, one day the slaves are they're going to be free and they're going to retaliate and kill us all. But there's something really underneath it that's so evil and insidious in American culture. And it's not going to end. It's not, we're just going to keep seeing it. And you know what's funny? I sorry to kind of interject, but Putin, when Putin was talking, when he actually said to the US, he said, you know, you want to talk about me and the Ukraine? How about the way that you treat black people in the USA? You want to talk about how bad I am? What about the way that you treat, you know? And he's right. He's an arsehole. But he's right. He's like, don't, you know, if you want to throw stones, look at yourselves. And I just think this guy he seemed a peaceful man. He was a skateboarder, photographer. He worked at FedEx.
Right. Well, I mean, I do think that economics might play into this a little bit. I'm just thinking that because, you know, people of color are definitely like not making as much, it seems like the wealth is being hoarded, by all the white dudes on the top. And it's just such an extreme imbalance of wealth that it just gives people, I don't know, I think it just creates this like division and fear. And I just feel like if there could be, I feel like maybe in UK it might be more balanced there. economically. Like, I just feel like everyone's like the wealth here is just insanely grotesque. And as far as like the people who have it and the people who don't have it. And then you have like the majority of people of color who don't have it.
It's not wealth though. It's a color thing. It's racism. And even black police officers are trained to think of black men as criminals. Black men are criminalized in this country. If you walk down a road and you see a black man and you're not a black man, you are taught to cross the road because they're going to mug you. They're going to everything. We have been indoctrinated in this country to believe that.
Mm-hmm.
We've been indoctrinated. You see a man with a hoodie, oh my goodness, he's a criminal. We've been taught that. We've been taught that in our company. It's so ingrained in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's ingrained, and it's not. You could be a rich black man, and you'll be in a rich neighborhood going home, and someone's going to say you don't belong here.
That's true. You're correct.
It's frightening. It's frightening.
I'm just trying to think where it. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, definitely. Yeah. I see your point for sure. I mean, I guess being here in this neighborhood, it feels different to me, but maybe if I was in a different neighborhood, maybe I would think, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
we know everyone here, and I don't,
Yeah, and I think there's definitely a push in our neighborhood to do the opposite, because we want to take care of everyone in our neighborhood. And well, that's
and you know everyone, you know the neighbor, you know everyone.
But it's community, isn't it? And community is so important. If we get to know everyone in the community, we get to know so and so in the street, and we get to know, all the families and all the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone takes care of each other. But when you don't have that, and that's the thing, is the police, I think, aren't
part of the community.
They're not. They don't do. In England, they call it the beat when you walk. Well, I think in America you do when you walk the beat, which means you walk in the community, you walk in the neighborhood, you say hello to everyone, and that doesn't happen anymore. But
yeah, I mean, we used to have that's how beat walk got started, or little music thing, because there was the cop that would walk the beat, and that was a way to get people out to see music and stuff. And now, we had that string of robberies and crazy things that were happening this past summer, and the police would come around, have a shop and come around at like 2:00 in the afternoon and be like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we're fine," but I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nice. I was happy to see them, but I don't know. But they're not. It was almost like they were just sent there because there was a problem, but they weren't coming around the time when the things were happening, and when people's businesses were getting broken into, or when people were getting, I don't know, mugged on the street or whatever. And it would be nice if there was like a nice community presence of police. It was part of the community.
But you touched on something, because I've always said this about England, and this applies to our community. When you have integrated communities where you have Black and white and Asian and Latinx people, LGBTQ, all living together, you don't fear the other. You don't have this. And when we live in segregated communities, and you're not used to seeing a man of color walking down the street, and you see how Black men are portrayed in the media, you will fear that person. You will criminalize that person, because there are no positive images of Black men in the media. And of course, we've got most of the Black male population are incarcerated. So you've got this, and you're right. The clue that the way to solve this is we need more integration. We need to stop segregating and having, sectioning off communities where, you know, the poor communities where it's going to be only Black people, or it's only going to be Mexican people, and nobody's living together and integrating and getting to know each other's cultures, and stop fearing people, because this comes from fear. Racism is fear.
Yeah.
And
Well,
yeah,
I was very before, and I think you know this, but then where we live, the 98118 was the most for a long time, not anymore because it's been a little more gentrified, but it was the most diverse zip code in the nation according to the US Census. Like I think it was like 15 years ago. And I was so proud about that. And there was like more languages spoken here than anywhere else, and including like places in New York and stuff. And I just thought that was so cool. But
yeah,
yeah.
too.
And then that, then I mean, I honestly like I'm more fearful when like when someone, like it could be like a white cracked up person comes into my store. I'm more scared of that as a person who has a shop because I don't know, like that's awful, but I like I don't know what they're gonna do, like because they're also probably on weird drugs that the pharmaceutical companies gave them, and now they're addicted, and I don't know. I have like more fear about that when like
oh my goodness, girl, are you more scared of Karens?
yes, well, Karen's on fentanyl. I hate to.
Karens on that's a great subject for a podcast.
Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of weird of me to say all that stuff, but I do, like just having, I'm in my shop all day by myself, and I mean, I've been here for so long in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
I know everyone. But yeah, like it's always if there's someone, not in the neighborhood that's comes in and I don't know them, and and they're acting a little sketchy. I don't know. Is that like, what do you call that? Like drug racism? I don't know.
Oh, God.
Awful. I'm terrible. I'm a terrible person.
No,
But yeah, no, it was very sad. I did watch a State of the Union, and it was to see his parents there. It just broke my heart, especially his father. It was like to go back to Tyre. It just broke my heart to see his dad. I mean, both of them, but it was, you could just tell they wanted to be there, but they didn't want to be there.
The pain. Yeah.
You could just see it. You could see it. And it was really hard. It was hard to watch. And yeah.
Well, rest in peace, Tyre. And for the next subject, it's crime and punishment. Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, we've got, for our listeners, we've got a picture of Jeff Bezos' famous balls. Right there.
Yes, they're very famous.
It looks so phallic, this picture.
Well, yeah, I think he probably meant to do that, I'm guessing. I don't know.
You've got the big skyscraper, the Amazon Tower, and then the balls strategically placed. So, yes. But, wow, crime and punishment, Amazon, big layoffs. And Jeff was warning us, wasn't he, Carla?
Oh yeah, he was saying, don't buy anything expensive over the holidays. Whatever you do, don't buy that big screen TV for me, because you might not have a job. I mean, I'm guessing that's what he meant. They laid off 18,000 people. That was one of the biggest layoffs. I also found, we just got the yearly report, and they lost $27 billion last year. They also, I'm not feeling bad about them either. I think that Jeff's going to be fine. I think they're going to be fine, because those layoffs are probably going to help them. But, this is not, it's not just them. It's like the entire tech world is like crashing down. It's Zoom is laying off people. Microsoft is laying off people. I think they laid off 7,000 people. Boeing is laying off people. Facebook. It's kind of worldwide. Here in Seattle, I think only 22,300 people here got laid off out of the 18,000. So,
Do you know why there was a dip in profits for Amazon? I mean,
Well, I mean, I do know that they made bank during the pandemic. Like they're it was like the hugest transfer of wealth like in the history of ever times. So they because everyone was staying home and they needed to order things and everyone was getting little Amazon packages. And I think that I'm not sure if it's because maybe Jeff got distracted by his, I mean, no, he's not CEO anymore, but by his like, hot new girlfriend or whatever. Or I don't know. Or I mean, now he's going to sell the Washington Post too, because I mean, like we were talking about earlier, the mainstream media is a total fail. No one wants to read it or see it and pay $1 or whatever he wants to read an article on his on the Washington Post website, and no one trusts them. So he's selling it. He's going to buy a sports ball team. He's going to buy a football team now.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing that maybe, well, the pandemic ended, so he probably, probably sold a bunch of stocks or whatever. He got divorced from Mackenzie. Who knows? He's trying to do the robotic thing and the do your hand and get into the world with your brain or eyes or whatever. I'm guessing that the gravy train ended a little bit and he's trying to recoup some money by firing everyone. My thought, but what do you think?
I think as well that a lot of the tech jobs are getting more and more automated. Just as tech develops, a lot of these jobs can be done. They're automated.
Right, he's doing all the robotic stuff. It's like all these people who probably invented the robotics are like, okay, now you're done. Now we have a robot to invent robots.
Yes.
They're like, bye, see you later.
Yeah, be clever for your own good.
We've got AI to do it.
Yeah, and they can do it quicker, and they're cheap. Yeah,
because a lot of these jobs they're not warehouse jobs. Most of these jobs in the tech arena are definitely like, the white collar jobs, the tech jobs, office jobs.
I always thought, if this continues, does that mean are the tech people going to start rebelling and turn on their own industry?
Well, I know when they were laying off people, when they were going to lay off, they hadn't laid them off yet, but people were already talking about unionizing, just like the warehouse workers have been talking about it. So, I mean, because before they were safe and they were like, oh, we don't need, they thought they were safe. And then they're like, oh, wait, we're not safe. They can just fire us and we lose our jobs. So yeah, it would be nice to, it would be great if like the tech workers and the warehouse workers and everyone can band together and like unionize and, and say F you to the man and get fair wages and get fair pay. And I mean, get like maternity leave and vacations and all the things that most other countries get that we don't get here.
Well, Carla, I was, walking around Seattle today. All the Starbucks have closed.
Yeah. I heard that Bernie is going to like bring Schultz into Congress to like interrogate him for like union busting. Like I think I wish I had that tweet right now to pull it up, but I saw that Bernie's going to like. I was like, as I'm disappointed with Bernie, I was like, when I saw that today, I was like, oh, thank you, Bernie. Like he needs to be held accountable because he's been the biggest asshole.
Yeah. No, they're all closing, and it's
because every time. Yep, sorry.
Starbucks done.
Yeah, a lot of them that were closing too were stores that were trying to unionize, ironically.
Ooh.
And then they would blame crime too. They'd say, "Oh, it's crime," but then you find out, oh, they were trying to unionize.
Oh,
yeah.
So I wonder if they're going to end up like Toys R Us. They're just going to be relegated to nothing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't like how I try not to get coffee there because I don't like how they treat their workers. So
yeah.
And same with Amazon. I've never, as you know, I own a shop, so I try not to participate in that.
Yeah, this is what happens when you don't take care of your people.
And I think also is to go back to why Amazon might be losing. I think a lot of people are seeing that. And a lot of my customers are coming in and they're saying, I don't want to buy from Amazon. I want to buy from you. So, because they see how evil it is.
Yeah.
So maybe
that. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So, well, we've got another subject.
Yeah.
Another sad one.
What a sad one.
Mhm.
Tectonic tragedy. So the earthquake in Turkey and Syria. I think the most shocking thing for me is the death toll. I
Yep.
mean, in my lifetime, I've not seen this high a death toll. Is it?
Yeah, it's 15,000 between, I think, Turkey and Syria right now, and it's probably gonna get worse, I'm guessing.
Yes, yes,
It could get much worse. Is that the devastation is incredible. Like,
yeah,
I'm floored
yes.
by looking at the images, and we couldn't find an actual good image because there's just so much, and it
It
doesn't really describe the destruction and
yeah,
the
it can't.
sadness, but this seemed like it kind of spoke to
Yeah,
us,
yes, yeah.
this piece of
Um,
artwork by
absolutely. Um, I think in the light of everything that's happening around the world, it's this is something that we all should be. If we want to think about helping people around the world and our efforts and being in solidarity right now, it's for the people of Turkey and Syria. I mean, this is, beyond anyone's, you know, I can't, I've not seen an earthquake this bad in my lifetime. And all the, you've got all these people that have lost their lives. You've got all these amazing, beautiful historic monuments that have disappeared now. There was a castle.
yeah, like castle. Yeah, I was what I saw the before and after. I was like, whoa, I can't. That's been there since like I can't remember. It was like something I don't know. It was an old castle. It's a castle.
Yes. And what this brings to mind for me is there's always going to be tragic disasters around the world, and as developing countries, as the superpowers, this is something when we talk about helping people, we have to be indiscriminate about helping everybody. It's not just one country. It's not
Mhm,
just the Ukraine or it's everybody. Like everybody should be our brothers and sisters around the world. Everybody.
mhm.
And you think about Syria and how we didn't do enough to help the Syrian people, and now they've just gone, had this awful earthquake. And I'm going to be interested to see what the West, how they help.
Well, yeah, first of all, we have sanctions on Syria right now that's been hurting Syria for many, many years. They can't get medicine. They can't get lots of things that normal countries can get. Um, and the humane thing to do right now, what the United States could do is drop the sanctions so that they can get aid and get help. And sadly, right now, the only people that are helping them is Russia. They're also sanctioned, and they, I guess, flew in a bunch of firemen to go and help. And they're in a position. I mean, while Russia has sanctions on them, they're in a position that they have good enough infrastructure that they are able to kind of maintain and also help Syria. But I am so. I mean, the United States instantly should have dropped the sanctions, even if it was for 6 months. They
Hmm.
want to keep being an asshole after 6 months, but right now the humane thing to do is to drop the sanctions because
Yeah.
I mean it's just like you're just like pouring what is it oil or gas over a fire right now with that.
Yes, because if we continue to make enemies around the world, this is not going to bode well.
No.
Yes, it's not. We keep doing this.
Hmm.
I mean, it happened with the Middle East. I mean, it doesn't bode well. We will become the enemy.
Well, the global south already is they think that I mean they seem to be banding together with Russia and China and I mean it's like it's already kind of starting. They're already calling bullshit on it.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, like this is, yeah, and then even with Turkey too, NATO, I know that Turkey's been, very adamant about voting to not have Sweden join NATO, because I know it's going to, um, poke the bear, so to speak, with Russia, because Russia doesn't want like NATO up against its. That's the reason why they're into this entire like war right now, is that they don't want those borders to encroach so close to their border.
Yeah.
And so Turkey sees that, and they've been very specific. We do not want to vote to have Sweden in NATO. And the rest of NATO is mad at Turkey. And then this devastating earthquake happens. And then I hear, this kind of chitter chatter on, jerks on Twitter saying, oh yeah, well now they're going to have to, because, NATO can just like put an ultimatum and say, we're not going to help you until you do this. And like, that's not right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure if NATO is going to be that awful, but they could be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know that they have been helping. They are going to help, but what, are they going to say, oh, will you do this? Are they going to pressure them, guilt trip them? Who knows? But yeah, it's sad.
Yeah.
And all that money, I mean, I don't know. There's so much money that could be distributed all over the world, not just to one place.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, Syria, Yemen, Somalia.
Yeah.
Palestine.
My heart goes out to Turkey and Syria.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I know that there are some, I'm not sure, I wish we could find them, but I know that it's been hard with them. There's a lot of GoFundMes, and then that money may not be getting to the right places, and it's very tricky to figure out how to best donate to this. So if you are to donate, I would say do your best research.
Yeah. Thanks, Carla. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to try and do something a little upbeat. It's just not been a very happy month so far, is it?
A week, Carla. It's been a week.
Wow, this should make you laugh.
He's not very happy.
Carla, do you want to explain why we called this segment Pulling a Sickie? Well, should I explain? Because it's an English phrase, really.
You should explain it, and I can explain like why someone might have pulled a sickie on me.
Okay, well, in England, if you don't want to go to school or you go to work, we call it pulling a sickie, which means you're pretending to be ill because you don't want to do something. Well, in the dating world, we've noticed that we've noticed a certain trend amongst men. I don't think girls do. Women don't do this, Carla. But
no, they say they're going to wash their hair, right?
Oh yeah, wash. I guess it's different. But men, it's always, it's suddenly they're feeling a bit sick, or work's getting really, work's intense, or and really they're just getting out of, dating you, and it's a trend. We've noticed this.
Mm-hmm.
We've noticed this. We've actually, Carla and I have actually, a running joke is we can't let any guys that fancy us watch the podcast because they start pulling sickies.
It's true, yeah. I mean, or if I just want to test a guy, I'll be like, oh, he's chatting with me online. I'm like, oh, maybe you should watch the last. I was like, check out my podcast with my friend Carla. He's really excited. Oh, come check it out. And then suddenly they fall ill. They're like, oh God, I don't know what happened. I'm just really, you guys seem really fun, but I'm not feeling very good.
Stomach ache, a tummy ache, just, I know. Yeah. Well, Carla, I had a little dalliance a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, oh, met this cute guy, and Carla goes, you didn't let him follow the podcast, did you? The first thing you said.
It's true.
Follow the podcast, did you? Because you lose him. He'll fall a victim to being a sickie. So guys, we're on to you. Men, yeah, we're on to you. We know what you're doing. You're not.
And also, maybe if we're not interested in you, we might send you the podcast, because maybe that's a way to get rid of you. That's what I do. I'm like, you kind of annoy me. Here's the podcast.
I know.
I mean, it works either way.
And I do think that men are so simple. Like, even when they try and be sophisticated with ghosting you, it's so obvious, guys. It's so bloody obvious. You're pulling a sickie. You don't want to date us. You don't want to go out. It's okay. It's all right.
We're big girls. We can handle it.
We know you don't fancy
We're
us.
out of our nappies.
It's all right. Go on. Move on. Go on to your bloody gorgeous girlfriend. But, don't pull a sickie.
Yeah, it's really lame, guys. Seriously.
Yeah, just so you don't fancy us. It's okay.
Yeah. We're Carlas. We're strong. We can take it.
We're strong, crying in our little handkerchiefs.
We only do that together.
Yeah, we just cry. We just cry over in the pub over a gin and tonic together. But honestly, we're all right. Just stop pulling a sickie. We see it coming. We see it coming, and it really is like, it's always like, oh, I've got a lot of work going on, or sometimes, another one, Carl, it's families in town. Oh, my mum's coming into town. Really?
Oh, I haven't gotten that one.
And I thought your mum was dead. It's like silly bloody excuses they use.
I know.
It's terrible, isn't it?
Terrible.
Yeah. So we're on to you blokes. We are. So, and also, Carl, I have to say, I did come off of the online dating. Yes.
You're free.
I am free. It felt so good.
Well, good for you. I just continue to half-ass my way on online dating and get absolutely nowhere. I do get some Chomsky messages every now and then, but it never goes anywhere, especially when I show them the podcast.
Well, Carla, we just need to get our Chomsky t-shirts. This is the next thing. I think the next step up is we're wearing Chomsky t-shirts, and I think then you and I will meet our future husbands.
That's true.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes. So that's so, Carla, the first podcast of the year. Mate, can I just apologise for completely spacing in the segment we're talking about the Ukraine? Well, my friend Jonathan just texted me in the middle of it, and then I was like, "Go away." So I'm really embarrassed about it because.
Oh, don't worry. It was actually not that bad. I was like, I just wish I just could ramble. I would have rambled more. I'm talking too much too. I would have been happy to ramble more, but I don't want to be hogging the platform. So I'm like, I cut myself off. But if I'd known,
you're so charming. But yeah, listeners, Carla messed up, and you can complain. I would.
Yeah, just don't blame the wrong Carla.
Blame British Carla. We can take it. I can take a lot. I can take rejection. I can take the fact that I messed up and didn't answer Carla's question because Jonathan. And it was a silly text. And I should have muted my phone. Sorry.
It's okay. I'm fine. Well, we'll just do let's try to do this again. I'm sure there'll be another shit show happening next week.
Well, that's me.
I mean, there's a whole, not you. I'm sure the whole world, in a week, there's so much is going to happen. So we'll have so much more to talk about. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, well, Carla, I've missed you.
Missed you too.
Yeah, and we'll keep coming. We'll keep the segments going. Look, now I'm going back to the proper screen, not to the one where we're blown up, and not the unattractive layout. There's one where we look like Shrek. Yeah. We don't want that one.
No.
Because men will pull a sickie if they see that one. So well, to fade out, let me just try and get the music going. All right, are you ready, Carla?
Yeah, I'm already dancing. Okay, waiting for the music.